Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Okay, this is hopefully the end of the knee. I can't say for sure. So, well, the end of the leg, because this is all one part. Right, first things I'm going to do, okay, this is all a bit Pete Tong really in size. Like I say, it's just a scaffold, and scaffolds don't represent the size of the actual building. I'm going to go to Object Properties, C3, Freeze, there we go. Now this is actually going to be part of the leg as well, and I'm going to be using symmetry on it, and I'm going to be trying not to cry if I balls it all up, so bear with me. And I'm going to draw out a box from here down to around about there. Just give it a random height. Right, now that I can change this, 0.3, I'm going to say 0.32 by 0.32. And I'll just bring it in a little bit, just so that it's on the corner of our scaffold, like so. Right, what I'm going to do next is increase the height nearly all the way up. So I'm going to take it to about there. Right click, convert to editable poly, and this is the knee reverse leg part. And we'll just add it on to the actual leg itself once we're done. Now, I want to stick a symmetry on this straight away, like I said. So I'm going to go into the symmetry modifier. This is useful for me because it means I can check it as I go along, basically. Okay, and I'm going to open my symmetry modifier, select the mirror gizmo inside it, and it looks like I'm going to have to flip it as well. And again, just using my scaffold, I can line up this part just in the right area, like so. Okay, that is fine. Now, close the symmetry modifier, pin the stack, and show end result. That means any work I do on this one will be reflected over there on that one. I no longer need this frozen piece, so I'm going to unfreeze it and delete my scaffold, and I can get on working straight from this now. Alright. Actually, hang on, I'm going to rebuild my scaffold just for a minute, because it occurs to me that symmetry... let's see. Should probably change the direction of that symmetry a bit. Just change this to local. And unflip it. Yeah, it suddenly occurred to me, you see, that I'd be creating it the wrong way round, and then I'd have to rotate it. So what I'm actually supposed to be doing is creating it there, and I'm going to work on this side, so apologies for that. Okay, back to editable poly, and back to deleting the scaffolding. Okay, so with our original piece, which is the top piece here, what I want to do first is basically select here at the top, do a ring and a connect, like so. Then I'm going to select this part. In fact, I may as well select it all, so select here and loop, and I'm going to do a chamfer, and I'm going to chamfer it nice and wide, like so. Next I'm going to get this part and just extrude it backwards and in about that far. Hopefully you're kind of with me so far. Now up here on the top, I'll select this part and I'm going to extrude that up about there. Then I'm going to extrude it up again to about there, and that'll become our top piece. Okay? You really don't want to know how much of a dog's arse I made of the of doing this before. It was horrendous. I was having a very, very, very bad time. That does happen now and again, though. Okay, now on the inside here, I'm going to do a loop and another connect. Okay, I'm not going to do another loop and another connect. Let's just pretend we are. Okay, I'm going to do a ring and a connect. Then, just look at this shape again. Yep, I need to go through here. Do a drag. I'm going to do a connect again, and this time I'm going to connect about 6 times. Maybe 7. Yeah, 7, what the hell. Okay, now I'm going to select here. You really don't want to know what the part I deleted was like. It was awful. It just wouldn't end. Okay, now I'm going to reduce the extrusion height to about there initially. Click OK. Then I'm going to take these parts, which are the top. Oops. As long as I don't move them. I'm going to extrude them as well, all the way until they just marry each other there. And then hit delete, and that gets rid of those facing polygons. So this will close off easier. Okay, next. Got some intriguing parts here that are actually a lot more horribly complicated than I gave them credit for. So I'm going to start with a cylinder. Notice it's 22 sides and has a height segment setting of 1. I'm building it inverse for a good reason. I'm going to convert to editable poly, go to my front viewport and zoom, and I'm going to do my darndest to locate this in the center of this piece. Now, if you're having trouble doing that, what you can do is just grab here on our editable poly and do a ring and a connect. Make sure you do connect with only one segment, obviously. And then, when you go and select the amazing disappearing circle, which was here just a moment ago, damn it, F3, there it is, you'll now find it a lot easier, especially if you press F3, to line up your center. Okay, next, drop this back into perspective, and I'm going to select here, Control I, get rid of the back piece, and do that. Next, select here, go back to our double poly, do not collapse the stack or we'll lose the symmetry. Do that, you'll notice it's vanished over there as well. Then attach this, you'll notice it's reappeared over there. One of the reasons to love the symmetry tool. Next, I'm going to do some bridging. Must admit, sometimes the bridge tool is tremendous fun, and I have said this in just about every single video tutorial I've ever done, actually. Okay, cap and cap. Next, a little bit of fun bevel work. So I'm going to use the bevel tool and select by poly. Now, depending on how sensitive this is how much I'm able to do. So, if your scale's too small, you're not going to be able to do quite as much quite so easily. Okay, move that into there, to there, to there. Bring this up. Give it a 0 length, which is where the polygon just starts to intersect with its own edge. Bring that in. I'm just going to keep the style the same, you know, which is quite an important part with this kind of model. Because they'll have a style guide when they put together big commercial projects like this, it's important that, you know, you maintain the shape as best you can so that it's maintaining the appearance that it would have. What they tend to do is kind of come up with the various parts they're going to be using. When they came up with this, they came up with a fairly credible backstory for it on how it was built and the whole design principle behind it. So, okay, anyway, I'm getting away from the point, so I'm going to create a cylinder again, and I'm just going to create it here and drag it out like so. I'm just going to give it a random negative depth, not too much, just a bit. Right click, convert to editable poly, and go into my front viewport and zoom. Now the good thing is that I can just go straight down here like this and do a connect, and then I can grab this half and take it to the length that I want, which is round about there. Okay. Now, scaled it a little bit too large, so I'm going to bring it down a bit like that. And then I'm going to reset the X form just because I applied a scale to it. I know it's a minor niggle, but there you go. Next, I'm going to rotate this and move this. So first, press F3 because I want to basically line up this corner to this edge. It's a loose way of doing it, but it's a loose way that works. Then I'm going to line up this and turn off angle snap. And then basically I'll be lining this up on this edge here. Now I'll go to the move tool, bring that to there. Oops. Cancel. Don't want to make copies of the back. Anyway, now I'm going to make some copies of this. See how many copies we can get away with. I'm betting no more than 5. I was right. That means there's just enough room at the end to build the other circle that we need. Now if you look as well, these are all slightly off kilter. However, the eye's not going to notice, to be honest. You're only going to notice because I just told you, and that was it. Okay, so go into edible poly, and I'm going to get rid of these polygons here. Now then, this piece here, rather than delete it, I'm just going to pull the vert down a little bit, like that, okay? Next, I'm going to grab this cylinder, and I'm going to start attaching this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I'm going to take off the top polygons. Like so, and just delete them. Now what this is doing is it's building basically a kind of mechanical methodology for how the piece would work. Yeah, in science fiction, a lot of the time people create smooth devices, and with robots they give no indication of how it's going to move or work whatsoever. What they've done with this is they've built kind of tracks and treads on the inside of the inverse knee joint, which would indicate a bit like a chain mechanism on a roller coaster, how it would work. Okay, next I'm going to select these polygons because I just need to do a minor bevel, like so, and control select by edge, not bevel, sorry, chamfer. Deselect these edges here. I'm not going to be using them. Okay, getting nice and close so I can see my chamfer. That means I'm not going to mess it up quite so much. And just reduce it until it's a nice, small, tidy one. Next, to save us a little bit of time later on, I'm going to select all my caps simultaneously on here. And just scale them all out simultaneously. Reason for this being, Control select by polygon, Control select by edge. Actually no, not the best way of doing it, hang on. Rather than Control select by edge. I'm not sure if we'll actually get a loop here or not. It's worth a try. Yes, we will. Fan flipping tastic. No, I was so pleased I didn't even swear. Okay, do loops, and then another very minor chamfer. Okay, and now the caps that we did before, we click them and hit delete. All that is left is the chamfer. And the reason I did this first rather than embedding it is because once we've embedded it and built our very simple capped polygons, we won't get quite so neat a chamfer, yeah? So that is why. Now I'm going to attach this. There we go. And I'm just going to start by clicking out and go to the bridge tool. There we are. And this one. And then just angle it a little bit. You can see it's happening in opposite reversey land on the other side. And it does look pretty. But then again, as everyone knows, I'm a bit gay for mechs, so... bit. On work, you damn you. There we go. Okay, now, start the capping process. Just turn off bridge first, obviously. I tend to prefer capping one at a time, that way I can look for any problems while I'm doing it. And then I can isolate the problem down to where I know it's being caused. There we go. So you can see we've got a much more complicated shape now. Just hit F4 and you can see on the other side there. There we go. Now, hit F4 again. I'm going to make our piece here that I need. So I can just chamfer this. And again. And then I'm going to use a half chamfer. There we are. Click OK. Now, what I want to do is tidy this up, because I'm going to want to use edge checks by our awesome friend over in Russia, and because of that I want to do a little bit of cleanup work. Now, because we've got rid of the polygon here, what I'm going to do is do a select and bridge, and then I can cap the remaining parts, which will make it a lot tidier later on. We won't get as many crossed verts, which will be good. Right, over here, and I'm just going to have a look at these parts. It's about time to bring them back. So I'll bring that back to about there, and then I'm going to bring this one back as well. Now you'll notice local isn't acting in the same way towards this one, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it goes sometimes. However, view will do the job just as well. There we go. Right, that's looking okay. Now, on the insides of these, on here, we actually have a grip tread, which is the kind of make-believe way that this is going to grip things. So, I'm going to run that up until we get to this top piece. First, I should knock out this bit, actually, because I forgot to do the back, which is a mistake. Delete there, and there, and there. Make sure there's no floaty verts. There isn't. Good. Okay, I'm going to go into the bridge tool again. And then cap. There we are. Okay, now I can run these pieces straight up to here. Before I do, I'm going to bring these parts out and across. So, I wonder if I can run a double symmetry. You know, I've never tried this before. I'm going to be interested. Can you run two? Oh, you can. Oh, joy. Double symmetry. Click flip. Intense. However, it appears to do unpleasant things to the other one, unfortunately. Do this back on local again. That's a shame. I was kind of hoping you could, but I wasn't holding my breath, really. Well, I was a little bit. There we go. Right then, so around the back of this, and the top part is this bit here. Just want to make sure this is high enough, this kind of arch piece. I think I would like to lift it a little higher, and I can of course do that. We've got edible poly, remember show end result. Select in there. This will show me the pieces I've got selected. Let's go to view. Haven't quite got them all by the looks of things. Let's do that again. There, that's better. Now I can bring it up to about there. which is the spot I wanted at. I can also adjust this because I didn't think it was quite curved enough. There we go. That should do it. And I can clean off the excess and crossed polys later. Now I need to create the middle piece on this. So I'm going to go across from here and here. Oh God, I haven't even opened my can of dark Coca-Cola yet. I must be enjoying myself or something. Or be a madman. Okay, extrude. And bring that across to round about. It's a tricky one, really. Let's say about there. About there? A bit more. There. Okay, that'll do. And I'll delete those as well. Now, this part here, which is our track that the knee moves up and down. So, what I'm going to do is select these pieces here, do a connect on them, and I'm just going to slide them up a bit, because I don't want them all the way to the top. Now then, cancel a second. Yeah, don't think I selected this one. There we go. Now slide it up. Okay. Next, I'm going to take this piece all the way down to here, and I'm going to extrude it a little bit first, like so, and then I'm going to detach it just as a separate element. Now you'll notice immediately it's vanished from the other piece. Now I'm going to drag it over here so I can continue working on it. It's a complicated part here. Okay, now I'm going to extrude it again to about there, and then at the back I'm going to have to cap it, and I'm going to have to cap it using the interactive bridging system. Because I want to boolean it, and as you all will know, booleaning is not the most what's the word I'm looking for here? Elegant solution. However, it does work occasionally. It's weird. It worked in a tutorial I did not that long ago, and I was so surprised. It was ridiculous. Okay, right click out, and I'm going to select these. I'm just going to make sure that I can put this piece back in place again when I'm done. Okay, quick connect. Don't worry that these things aren't connected in the right place on the back. It's just a fast solution. And here. Okay, pull back. Now, over here I'm going to create the teeth. And they're going to need to be slightly rounded coming in. So, I'm going to create a box. I'm just going to draw it out from the top of this. Like that. Convert to editable poly. Zoom in. And I want a decent, pretty damn round shape on this, so I'm going to ring it. Do a connect. Click there. And I'm going to do a hinge from edge. Do that. Just delete that polygon there. Control A for all the verts. Do a weld. Close it up. Done. Right, now I can drive it into the right place, which will be initially there. And then I'm going to separate them by that much all the way up. Just run as many as I think I need. 26 is not enough. It's going to be a hell of a boolean. There you go, 47, and then I'll delete the excess. See, it's always far too many or not enough, isn't it? And I'll get rid of this one all the way at the top as well. And then I'm going to check that I haven't been pausing it. Oh, thank heavens. Right. Now that's not called box. But this isn't called box either. This is called box 02. Just to make sure that we don't have anything in our scene immediately visible that I'm going to attach to that I shouldn't. Doesn't look like it. Okay, now I'll select this and just move it up just a tiny bit. Okay, that's fine. Next, I'm going to save. So I'm going to save as workbench. I always save as workbench if I'm not entirely sure whether or not Max is going to do horrendous things to my model that would make a grown man cry. P.S. Max does things to models that make grown men cry all the time. Okay, now, compound objects, and it's up to you. You can use Boolean or pro-Boolean, depending on how sad you want to feel. Pick Boolean, click there. Right click, convert to edible poly. Gaze in wonder at the working Boolean. And so forth. Because the Boolean worked. It also seems to have cleaned my mesh rather a lot. So I'll do this. It's not often this actually works. Had I not saved, it would have crashed in an exceptional manner, to be quite honest. Actually, I'll not delete that end piece. Okay, now let's move it back until it is nearly in the correct place. There we go. Now over here, use the attach tool and just attach that back on. Make sure it's good and close. Okay. Now I'm going to have to do a few cuts and welds probably in order to get this to bolt on, I suspect, because unfortunately Pro Boolean has done a trim job on my model. But I might just leave it, to be quite honest. We shall see. Okay, next. Turn off element. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll just cap the back of it again and make it a separate object for the time being. Hooray! Okay, next. Just looking at our piece. Looks nice, to a degree anyway. We've got those inside pieces working. And I'm going to smooth down on this side a little bit. Well, I'm not going to smooth down, I'm just going to extrude in, actually, I mean. I was going to attach this, but I think I'll keep it as a separate element. That might come in handy inside the actual game system, I don't know. Now, if you can see, because I've extruded this in, we've got this excess edge going on, which I'm going to have to do a little something about, because even though it's lovely, we don't want it, because it's zero thickness, and zero thickness isn't good. So just move it to there and make sure it all lines up like that. Perspective, zoom. Yep. There, and that brings that part back. Now the problem we've got here is at the top it didn't tell this piece, so we'll do a cut. There to there. Now we'll start getting rid of some of these edges. There's one. There's one. And get rid of this vert. You'll notice it now springs back into place. and I can now do a cut from here to here. There we go. Well, in theory anyway. I'll have to do this piece myself. There we go. And because I noticed that we were getting some pinging going on there, what I'm going to do is do a Control A and a quick weld, just to get rid of any excess verts we might need killing. And then delete here and here. See that? Get rid of that. Now we can cap it. Let's have a quick check of this piece. There, like so. Okay, pull back. Right, next. Looking overall at the shape and being quite pleased. Convert to edible poly. That builds us our single unified mesh. Next, slap some more symmetry on it. You know what, I was just thinking, I should have slapped symmetry, then edit poly, and then symmetry on top of the edit poly, and that would have probably worked better. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, click flip. Just get this in the right place. Just about there. And make sure there's enough room for the piece I need to build at the top here, which there should be. Looks nice actually. I'm surprised at how well that piece is coming out. Okay, now repin show end result. And I'm going to quickly work over here. Just need to find myself a better image, which probably means finding that teeny one. Ugh, that's awful. That, come on, reference images, do your magic. The hell is that? Okay, I'm just gonna do what I do when I've had no luck with a decent reference image and just lean in a bit close. There we go. Right, select here and here. Just zooming in on it a bit. Now I'm going to select here and here and just do a connect. Next, get rid of this and this. Then I'm going to select here, 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 and here, and extrude until it's level with this exciting new hole that we've just built. It should be about there. And then I'm going to walk inside our model and delete this and this. And then do a little bit of welding. Just scooch around inside my piece over here. There we go. And weld. Pull back. There we go. So that gives us this shape. Next. Again, looking in close as I can. I can actually see how this works now. Pull that back to about there, click apply and do this one. I'm going to select this one and this one and just bring them both a little bit forward like that. I could do actually, before I do that, with, I know it's a pain in the bum, I'm just going to grab here and here. Let's have a look. Yeah, just do a connect between here and here and here. Possibly slide it up a little bit. Okay, this will make things a tiny bit easier when I do this. Okay, now I can do that, and the shape actually makes a lot more sense. Okay, now looking at this shape again, convert to editable poly, just to wipe it out a bit. You'll notice that it just welds it straight down the middle there. If I do a quick Control A and weld, there shouldn't actually be very much to weld at all. And I've got a fairly high setting on. Next, I need to put this disc across. So, standard cylinder. I'm going to build it from the middle here. To could really do with being a bit bigger, to be honest. Let's have a look. Yeah, I can actually afford to widen this a bit. I'll go back and stick on the symmetry again. Let's get to the point where I collapse the symmetry. There it is. Bring the symmetry back as if by magic. Right, now I'm going to move this over here. And then affect my symmetry over this way. And that will allow me to do a wider piece here. In fact, bring that to about there. It'll be at the width which I wanted it to be in the first place. Like so. And even though the knee is pretty much the same width as this piece, it will actually need to be a little bit narrower, but I can scale this down, you see, uniformly. So convert to editable poly, do a quick Control A and weld. There, we've got a couple to get rid of this time, but that's because it was a very close weld. Right, now before I scale it down and then cry when it doesn't do quite what I want, let's put the cylinder on the top. Get it nice and wide. And raise it up like that. Okay, next. Convert to editable polygon. And I can get beveling on this. Again, one of those instances where there's surprisingly little detail. I've got this horrible feeling that, similar to the APU, we're going to end up with a ton of references made from this model. Although you can buy a rather excellent high quality model toy of this. But to be honest, I'm impatient and didn't want to wait for it to arrive from the US, and I've already built a model from a toy before, as anyone who remembers the APU set will know. And whilst it worked and it all came out okay, to be honest, I don't want to do it again. It's like with the Stormbringer, I made it from over 1,000 reference pictures, I think it was. And with the APU, I made it literally by hacking apart a toy of the APU. And with this, you know, I've got 12 reference pictures, some of which are incredibly tiny, none of which I'm going to supply with this set, because I'm, like I just said, probably just going to use a, what do you call it with it? Okay, that's fine. Might need to scale it in just a tiny bit. I'll uniform scale it in. There. Okay, next. Just hit F3. Can't remember if I removed the rear facing polygon on this or not. No! Ha, silly me. Right. Next. I might just use the placement tool, or I might just draw 4 cylinders, because they don't look like they're especially complicated. But you know what? I can make them more complicated should I need to. And I might. So, first one is just a cylinder. And it goes round about there. Like that. Scale it down a bit. Grow it. Control I, delete. tool, select by edge, and just do a tiny chamfer. Okay. Now, using this on the local, I can then move it over to here, and then I can move them down to here. Okay. Next, on this part, I get a bit of a sore ear. Let's have a look. I'm not 100% convinced this is central enough yet. But that's okay, I can make it central. Right, next. I'm going to delete off some of these top polygons so I can attach this in. Make sure I get them all. Okay. Don't delete any I don't need to, because they're bound to come in useful sooner or later. Though I will be deleting these. And these. Alright, next. Let's attach these all on. Like that. And we've got actually a few more polygons I'm going to have to get rid of, probably. Let's have a look at this. Yep, I am. Bloody typical. Never mind. Might as well I just got rid of them all in the first place. There we are. Right. Just pause for a second, so I always check it is still recording. Certainly seems to be. Right. Over here then. And I'm going to start with these two. And just bridge them. And here. Like so. Okay, that's fine. Now, it's a slightly tad more complicated than what I need to do here. Do a connect, and just use my scale tool and scale it in. Now, just use my local move. Oh, better delete these first, hang on. Delete, delete. I know it seems pointless, but don't worry. There is a reason. Okay, next. Should still have my edges selected, so I'm going to hold shift and just... Remember that thing before? Actually, no you don't, because I deleted it. There was a problem I had before, basically, where it wouldn't let me drag on the correct axis, because it flips them when you do it. So what I'm going to do is just move them to a 0 point like that, and let go. And it's the equivalent of a 0 length bevel. There we go. Bring these down a little bit. Oop. Like so. And then I can go here. Delete that. And that. I know it's a little bit convoluted and complex, however it's part of the shape, so tough. Okay, back to the bridge tool. And it is quite good fun spinning around your model. There we are. Right. Now I can attach these. Always amuses me. I was just thinking about something, and I was remembering like the people who just collect video tutorials and never watch them. This has been something that I've been aware of for like, it's what, 2008 now, and I remember hearing about it first in about 2001, which is about when the first video tutorials were downloadable from the web, pretty much, apart from the GNOME on video cassettes. And I always found it baffling that people would want to really download and collect videos, educational 3D videos that they would never ever watch. So to all the people who are never going to watch this, ha, you wankers. Right, anyway, enough of that. Bridge. And that just earned me a PG-12 rating where there's a movie. Just going around closing up a few gaps here. It just tidies it up for me. Okay. Technically I can bridge this and this, and by doing so I'll make my model a tiny bit neater. Okay, and then do the same over here, because of course I don't have symmetry on. There we go, even though it is a symmetrical model, obviously. Bridge, there we go. Now I'll do some caps. 1, 2. I know this is going to cap okay, so I'm not going to bother doing them one at a time in this instance. There we go. Just press F4 to check. Nope, that's absolutely fine. Okay. Now I need to scale this just a tiny bit. So I can scale it from this corner. And I'm going to uniformly scale it just a little bit. I don't need to do much, just a little. Notice it's uniformly. If I scale non-uniformly, then you're going to end up with quite a mess going on here, so do be careful. Okay, move that to there. Hide and select it briefly. Now then, the bottoms here, where all the funky polygons have been created, needs to be cleaned up. There we go. Oops, got to be careful not to delete the wrong polygons, or I won't get a Christmas card off Santa this year. Okay, and again, just use my select tool rather than the select to move, just to prevent any unforeseen and unwanted incidents, accidents, hints and allegations. Damn, that was a good song. Please write into the 3D Palace forum if you know which song I'm referring to there, and you will obtain a free month sponsor membership, as long as piracy hasn't driven 3D Palace into the gutter. There we go. And this one. Take the time now to start unwinding a bit, because it's been a pretty long tutorial hike this time. Just like last time, and the time before now I think about it. Okay, now if you want to close these up again, you can. I'm just going to use the border tool on these four, and cap. Now remember, you've got the separate one there as well. So it's up to you if you want to cap. You may notice there's some errors going on there. I don't think I'm going to bother capping actually. Delete these inside ones here. Here. I'm sure if I come across some mad errors in my model, we'll clean them up sooner or later. Quick Control A and a weld. There we go. You'll notice these are still separate simply because they haven't been welded in. Right then, pull back, unhide all. Oh, that looks nice. What I'm going to do here is just apply my default grey material to it so it looks slightly nicer in my eyes. And I'm going to save a workbench. and then I'm going to create a box and use edge checks on the box to make sure I'm in basic mode. That's better. Right, now I'm going to delete the box and select this and use edge checks. There. Okay, now as you can see, it's edge checking by face normals and doing a pretty darned good job of it too, which is one of the reasons I really like edge checks. Right, convert to editable poly. Hit F4 and you can see it's nice and smooth in the areas where it should be. Actually, before I apply edge checks, one thing I forgot, which I was desperate to remember, top here, I'm going to create a cylinder. Give it a minimal height like so, convert to editable poly. Okay, grow it out, Control I, delete the back. Right, go into bevel mode. Okay, and move in like this, and down a bit like that. Okay, now I'm going to extrude this up and do a tiny bevel, just the height and the outline. Now I'll do an inset, and then I'll do an inverse bevel by the same one, and extrude this back, and then an inverse bevel again. Okay, that seems fine. Zoom. Okay, next I need to create 3 of these, so I'm going to use my move tool, and I've got to basically build them in a triangular kind of configuration. So one's going to go here, here, and then here. Next, I'm going to attach them, and get rid of the polygons underneath them with any luck. And then just do a real simple kind of connect job here. Bridge. Haha, I was bridging the wrong piece because I'm dead thick. There we go. Bridge. 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 And then start capping. There we go. Okay, so that's the rear facing knee part, which is a little bit of a nightmare to do, quite frankly. So make sure this is added to in the layer manager, hide polygon leg, and I'll unhide all our other parts just so we can see what we're doing. There we go. So in the next part I get to start on doing basically the twisting knee joint, and until then, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.